Even though Steph's not here, I arranged to do this review by myself. Do you get it? Range, E-Hybrid. Anyway, Steph's on vacation, I'm Jay, and this is Modern Motoring. Welcome to your 2022 Porsche Cayenne E-Hybrid Coupe review. That's a lot of words. Short version is it's Porsche's largest vehicle in hybrid form and with a slanted back as opposed to the squared off back. So let's start with some power figures and then some driving dynamics. So this year it has a 17.9 kilowatt per hour battery and all electric range as per Natural Resources Canada slots in at 27 kilometers. Now that number is going to vary. When I picked up the vehicle, it had a little over 30 kilometers, but the weather and the speed and the weight will definitely have impacts on that. But again, Natural Resources, the official governing body, says 27 kilometers, so I'm okay with that. Power-wise, it's a 3-liter turbo V6, and combined with the battery as well as the gasoline engine, we have 455 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. And that's all through an 8-speed automatic. And yes, it is all-wheel drive. For those of you that are curious, if it is just the coupe non-hybrid version, you get 335 horsepower and 331 pound-feet of torque. But we have the hybrid, so let's stick to that. Before I jump into any driving dynamics, the cool part here is you can have 3 different settings for your e-charge. You can have it in hybrid auto, which just operates like a regular hybrid. You can go to the e-hold, which holds your power for later, and the one that I use the most is the e-charge. And basically what that does is once you pick that setting and you go into the H for hybrid drive mode, it takes the power generated and it pushes it back into the battery, whereas the hybrid auto does not do that, and the e-hold does not do that as well. So really smart move there by Porsche, and it not that it stops you from charging the vehicle, but it makes plugging it in infrequent if you are doing a lot of driving. Now, yes, it comes with a 3.6 household plug. If you want to pay a little extra, you get that up to 7.2. Charging time starts a few hours, so it does not take long at all to get the Cayenne E-Hybrid Coupe charged up to your at least 27 kilometers of all electric range. For a vehicle that is a little more than 5,000 pounds, it moves with a lot of agility, and yes, it's still going to be an SUV. You can't take away from that at all. But the impressive part for me is it doesn't feel like an SUV. Now, it doesn't feel as nimble as a sports car from Porsche, but it does have that athleticism that makes it move around, whether you're on highways or city streets or out in the back roads. It moves it very well. Now, ride quality, because this does have the optioned out air suspension, it is quite the comfortable ride. What detracts from that a little bit are the 22-inch wheels with really thin sidewalls. So on one hand, you get a soft ride, and then on the other hand, you get those wheels that look sharp, no issues with them at all, but because they're so big, they're a little noisy, and because the sidewalls are so thin, you feel a little more than you should. Acceleration-wise, it's a Cayenne. It moves very quickly, and I've drained the battery the first day again because it's got in and around 30 kilometers of range. So when it was in the gasoline-only mode, through Sport or Sport Plus or Hybrid, it operates just like a Cayenne should. It is fast. It is quick. The brisk acceleration is very on brand for Porsche. I couldn't see them doing anything else but this. So if you are using gasoline, know that you won't have any sacrifices as far as drive quality goes, as far as driving dynamics goes. Like, it's a Porsche. Like, they're famous for this. They're world renowned for this. Getting up to highway speeds, there are no issues at all. If you are on the city streets and the acceleration is nice and brisk, handling is predictably, typically, and happily Porsche. For a large vehicle, it really hugs the turns. It gives you a lot of stability through the twists and bends of the road. It's not a commercial for Porsche, but come on, nothing handles like a Porsche. And that's just the long, middle, and short of it. As far as seat comfort, I didn't get any driver fatigue from the seats here, and I've done a fair amount of driving, almost 500 kilometers over a few days, and there have been long trips and there have been short trips. I've been stuck in highway traffic, I've been cruising along on back roads, and I found my seating position quite easily. Now these are the upgraded houndstooth material seats, 18 ways as far as movement goes. The good thing here is, just because I like it and I think it's a wonderful seat, you may not. And some people knock Porsche for this, but I applaud them for this. There are thousands of combinations and mixes of what you want, what you can get, and you really can make a Porsche your own and almost unlike any others out there. But know that if you want a specific configuration and material and color and style for your seat, you can absolutely get one. Just to go back and wrap up the driving dynamics, there is no bad part to driving the Cayenne E-Hybrid Coupe. Some may say, well, Jay, the range is tiny. It's only 27 kilometers. Well, yeah, be that as it may. If you want something that's fully electric, just, flip web pages and go to the Taycan page from Porsche. But if you want an SUV that has some kind of green capacity to it, and you still want the gasoline aspect against the plug-in hybrid, this is probably one of your better bets. And combined range overall, again, per Natural Resources Canada, I believe it was 666 kilometers on the gasoline side and 27 on the electric side. So almost 700 kilometers to a full tank combined. Now, take from that what you will. Again, numbers will move up and down, but it's a pretty solid solution for those of you that want the high-end luxury vehicle and want to have a little bit of an impact on the planet in a positive way as well. From the time you started watching this review until this very moment, in the e-charge mode, I've regenerated 9 kilometers worth, and that's only been over a few minutes. So I think it is one of the better systems out there. And if you end up with one of these, I would keep it in that mode full time. Let's take a look at the outside. Still typical Cayenne coupe shape. It's one of my, not favorite ones, but it's one of the ones I prefer over the, let's say, X4, X6, and GLE coupes. Porsche's done it right. There's still that steep angle, and there's still no rear wiper, but it doesn't look as outlandish, I find, as some of the other ones do. So well done there for Porsche. You'll notice a lot of neon green accents here, and what Porsche calls them is the acid green, and that's their way of signifying that it's a hybrid model. So you have the acid green on the brake calipers. It says E-Hybrid as far as the badging goes. You pop the hood, and part of the engine cover is in the acid green as well. That also trickles into the inside. We'll get more on that later on, but let's stick to the outside. You get the 4-point headlights, which is really sharp. Now, this was spec'd out with the carbon fiber roof. I would never do that because, as you can tell through the camera, it's very dark in here with the Alcantara roofliner and no sunroof. It gives it that closed-in feeling, and the whole week I've had it, I've felt that this is smaller than what I know it is, but my senses kind of have a bit of an internal battle where we know it's a big SUV, but because you're covered in darkness with the dark colored seats and the dark interior and the dark roofliner, it has that smaller than it appears feeling. Overall, it does look pretty sharp, and you get the quad exhausts around the rear. It's a nice finishing move. Taking a look inside, typical Porsche, and you have the 5 dials on the dashboard. Now, the cool thing here is the dials on the right, the 2 of them, because the center one is analog and the 2 on the left are digital. You can configure what you want as far as appearance goes, and I've had it to the energy flow on the just one to the right of the middle. You can get those 2 combined for a map if you so choose, but it's cool to see exactly where your energy is coming from, where it's going, and how it's being distributed. You still can't see the 2 other dials with that much clarity, but it really doesn't matter. Now, I have the one on the far right set to the date because if I can't see it, I may as well put something I don't care about in there. And the one on the far left is the temperature, because same thing, I just don't care about the temperature, so that's what I'm going to use that as. So it's basically the big 3 in the middle. Steering wheel, nice, thin, solid, feels good. All of your drive modes are just to the bottom right of the center cap. So again, the electric and hybrid and sport plus. It feels really, really good to hang on to, especially when you're going and doing your twists and turns. So I don't have any issues on that side at all. Quick update, we're now at 12 kilometers as far as the amount of energy that's been brought back. So again, I'm going to keep saying it the whole review, the e-charge route is the way to go. Moving on to the center stack and the infotainment system, nice big screen, nothing's changed with it, it still works perfectly well. Easy to navigate, fairly responsive. You get down to your big centerpiece here, glass on the sides, which I'm much happier with as opposed to having all those plastic buttons. Not for the sake that it was plastic, just it got a little cluttered and it looked too busy. And at least with the glass, it's got that cleaner look. And yeah, you get some fingerprints, but not the end of the world. And I'd rather clean fingerprints once a day than look at a sea of buttons. Let's touch on the acid green highlights in here. So it's on the arm of the clock, it's on the needles on the dashboard, it's part of the accents on the dashboard as well, not just the needles. Interesting note, on the bottom of the speedometer, there's the e-power to the left and the charts to the right. So basically lets you know if you're using power or recouping power. So always good to have that in place there. It's also in the infotainment system, which is just enough of an accent piece that it's not overdone. Also, the infotainment, very easy to use, as I mentioned. It kind of becomes second nature after a little while, and if I can figure it out as far as muscle memory goes after a few days, I'm confident that nearly anyone can do it. You do get the two grab handles for your driver and your front passenger. And overall, aside from the lack of a sunroof, the cabin's fairly spacious. Pretty wide, I don't get that cramped in feeling at all. This does have the 2+2 seating configuration, so thankfully nobody is stuck in that middle seat. Let's jump to the back for cargo, and here's an interesting point. With the e-hybrid, you get less cargo space, seats up and seats down, as you would if it was just the gasoline version. Just to give you a look at those numbers, with the e-hybrid, it's 460 liters seats up, 1,400 seats down. And with the non-hybrid, which is gasoline only, it's 772 seats up and 1,708 seats down. On the fuel consumption side, which is important, both the hybrid and gasoline version have a 75-liter fuel tank. For the e-hybrid, which is what I'm in liters per 100 kilometers, we're at 11.8 in the city, 10.6 on the highway, and 11.3 as a combined figure. Interestingly, with the gasoline version, it's 13.8 on the city, 10.7 on the highway, and 12.4 combined. So where the benefit here will be found in the city. Because again, 11.8 liters per 100 kilometers in the city for this, and up 2 full liters to 13.8 for the gasoline version. Highway figures are the same, well, almost the same, 10.6 versus 10.7. So depending on your driving style, what you do and how you do it, this plug-in hybrid might be the way for you. And if it's a lot of city driving and you're close to a charger, you've got a home charger, this might be the one to look at a little more seriously as opposed to the gasoline version. Before we wrap up, let's go through trims. So there's the base model, which is this, and I feel bad calling it base, goes for a little over 101,000. Next up is the Platinum for 112,000 and a bit. Might be worth it for you to go up to that, depends on what you want. And finally, at the very top, you have the Turbo S, and that's just a touch under $200,000. So pretty much double the price of this. It's got remarkable power. There's just so much to it. And it's not just the power, there's a whole bunch of fun features, benefits, and advantages of going with that, if that's what you're into. Just as a final update, I'm now at 15 kilometers of power brought back. So it works, and it works really well. That's going to wrap it up for the Cayenne E-Hybrid Coupe. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comments, and we'll do our best to get you answers as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. Steph and I both really appreciate the support. Steph will be back in the next video. She's on vacation, as I mentioned in the intro. We'd love for you to join our community. We're on all the major social media platforms. We go through our comments all the time, and we try to get back to you as soon as we can. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.